Okay, so I have been working with colored pencils for like 10 years now. I think actually, yeah, next month marks exactly 10 years since I started playing with colored pencil. That is insane to me. Well, I also have an art supply addiction, and so that means over the course of 10 years, yeah, I've accumulated a lot of colored pencils. We're going to talk about those today. Hi, Shanna Rowe Jackson here from Caution Artist at Play, where I play with a ton of art supplies. And we are going to be talking about one of my favorites today. We are going to be talking about colored pencil. Many of you have probably found me through my colored pencil work or through my Inktense work, so you know I love pencils. I love pencils so much. A while back when I did my studio tour, I had talked about possibly doing like some sort of art supply tour, so that I could show you the specific art supplies that I use, and a few of you seemed interested in that. So I thought, you know what, let's do that. However, I have a lot of different art supplies. I'm a mixed media artist, so I'm like, I can't do it all in one video. Ain't nobody got time for that. We're not doing that today. But I can do it by category, and so that's what we're doing. The first video in this little series is going to be me showing you my colored pencils. Now, I am not going to talk about every single color that I have in every single line because, again, ain't nobody got time for that. Like, we don't need to be here all day, but it is fun to look, right? So I will talk about the brands that I currently have. I will talk about the colors that I like the most in each brand, why I like each brand, and then also kind of talk about some of my least favorite qualities of each brand. So I can kind of give you an overview because if you look, you see all this? These are my pencils. So, like, it's just not feasible for me to talk about every single color, but I think an overview, I think that'll work. All right, so let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to start off with the drawer sets, and then I will also be bringing in some of the other smaller sets of pencils that I have that are still in their original packaging, and we'll go from there. This video is going to encompass all my colored pencils and my water-soluble pencils, and then I think I'll just leave my pastel pencils for when I do a pastel video, because I plan on doing a video like this about pastels. So starting off with my top drawer here, I have the Holbein Artist pencils, and these are the newest to my collection, I guess you could say. I just started working with these a few years ago. I had heard wonderful things about these for years and years and years, but I wanted to make sure that I could get them easily open stock. I also wanted to make sure I was getting the real deal, so I never ordered them from Amazon or anything like that. I waited until I could get them easily available at Blick. I was super stoked when they finally came out with them, so then I bought the 24 set, and I reviewed that on my channel, so you can see my initial review of these on the channel as well. They did later on reach out to me and ask me if I would also like to review their 12 sets of colored pencils, and so I have a series for those sets as well on the channel if you want to learn more about these pencils. They are easy to blend, they're very vibrant, they hold a point really well, they don't break as easily as like a Prismacolor or anything like that. And I do have some colors that I come to time and time again with this set. And I have to say, obviously I don't have the full set of colored pencils. I'm somebody who, I look at the Lightfast ratings of the manufacturer, and I look at the Lightfast ratings set out by CPSA, which is Colored Pencil Society of America. If either of those lists say something is fugitive, I pull it. I only use pencils that are rated to be 50 years or more in work that I plan to sell. And if I'm working with a pricey pencil, I'm going to be using it on work that I plan to sell. So I have weeded out a few from my sets that I had that I did not think were Lightfast. Now, I understand there was some confusion about Lightfast ratings on these pencils. I'm not going to get into that here, but in my reviews for their 12 sets, I do have some information directly from the company, and they kind of cleared that up a little bit. So if you want to learn more about that, go and watch those videos. That's all I'm going to say about that subject here. And if you don't know what lightfastness is just basically referring to how stable a pigment is when it's exposed to light. Some pigments will fade when exposed to light. Dyes tend to fade, period. And so Lightfast ratings are showing whether or not the pigment that you're using is going to fade when exposed to light. And so you'll see that I'm not going to have really full sets of most of these pencils because I tend to just stick with the colors that are the most Lightfast from each line. Let's talk about the colors that I love the most in this line.
can always tell which colors I use the most when you can see duplicates in my set. And the white pencil and the soft white pencil, I love the soft white pencil in this line, is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You can see here I also have a couple of black pencils. This one I have a duplicate of, I believe, because I think I had more than one set that had this color in it. But yeah, I love the greens. I'm a big green fiend. Anytime I can have a good dark green, I'm going to be a fan of that. That's my lamp black that needs to go down here. Their purples are beautiful as well. This raisin color, I love it. I think it's gorgeous. It's just a beautiful reddy purple, and I love, 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 love that. So yeah, these I think, I love the way they feel on the paper. They're soft enough that they blend really easily, and then they're rugged enough that they're not just going to break on you like a Prismacolor would. A really solid pencil. Okay, so the next ones that I want to talk about are the Derwent Lightfast. Now I'm going to throw this disclaimer in here, but I think it's probably pretty obvious. This video is not sponsored by any of the companies mentioned, hence the fact that I'm talking about all the companies, but I just want to put that out there. I have a lot of these, as you can tell. These are all light fast, and we were just discussing light fastness, right? So light fastness refers to whether or not something is going to fade easily when exposed to light. And this is Derwent's line, I think probably in response to the Caran d'Ache Luminance, which we'll talk about later, but these are their first like 100% light fast line, because Derwent puts out a lot of pencils. But any pencil that you get here is guaranteed to last and not fade easily when exposed to light, which is amazing if you are selling your artwork, because you don't want to have somebody spend hard-earned money on your artwork just to have it fade on their wall. That would be kind of crappy. I think that'd be a crappy thing to do. So I was super stoked when these came out, and I bought a bunch of them. I think they initially came out with a 72 set, which I think I did get the 72 set, and then they've recently expanded to 100, and I've kind of picked out a few colors from there. I still don't think I have all 100. And this extends into a second drawer, by the way. I have my kind of neutral colors in the next drawer down. But let's talk about the things I love about this line. I love the way these blend. I think they're beautiful, they're sturdy, and again, vibrant. And you can tell there's certain colors that I use more often than others, like their light aqua. I already have a backup one of that here. Their nightshade is a beautiful color. I have another backup of that here. Their dark indigo, such a deep dark blue, perfectly beautiful. And I have to say the nightshade is a wonderful pencil as well, because such a deep dark purple, and it's hard to get light fast purples in other lines. And so, as you can see here, they have quite a few purples, and I love that. A lot of them are more like earthy, kind of. Not quite pure, they're a little bit dusky, but still, it's amazing. And then I also like their magenta and their forest. I was not overly impressed with their white pencil. It's just not as opaque as some of the other pencils out there, and so it's not necessarily my go-to white. It's pretty good. It is pretty good, but it's not my go-to white. And then I do really like their black pencil. It does get to a deep dark black, and so those are some of my like key players in this. I don't think I have any colors that I really dislike in this line. I think that they're all, you know, a lot of fun to play around with, and they all have their uses. So there's that one. Again, this is another pricey line. If you're thinking about trying out any of these more expensive lines, I recommend trying to get them open stock first and get a few colors and just see if you like the feel of the pencil before you invest in a set. Just because I know that, you know, budgets can be tight and it can be hard to really justify affording really expensive pencils. But these are beautiful. They're going to be pricey, but you can sell the work that you make with them knowing that it's not going to fade. All right, so I also have a few other things from Derwent. Now, these are the rest of my light fast pencils, and just beautiful. I just love them so much. And it has the Lightfast information right on them. I should have mentioned Holbein puts their Lightfast information right on each pencil as well. And then I have just a few of the Derwent Pro Color. This line was a little bit disappointing for me when it first came out. They have some fun colors, but overall as a line, not very Lightfast. So I had more colors at one point, but I got rid of them because they weren't very Lightfast to begin with. And then I have a few Derwent artists mixed in as well. I think I only ever had like a small set of this. They had like a gray set or like, I don't know. It was like black and white and a few other like gray colors or something like that that came in a set. And again, I only kept the Lightfast ones and I never really invested deeply in that line. I also have some Derwent artists from way back in the day. These are like some of my first colored pencils. I got these as like a teenager before I ever became serious about it, because I was an adult when I really started getting serious about colored pencil. But I had these as a teenager, and again, I went through the ones I had. I think I only had a 12 set originally. I went through the ones I had and checked the Lightfast ratings on them, and I just kept the ones that were Lightfast. So just a few of those, and a few of the Pro Colors. I have, well, quite a few of the Pro Colors. And then I have like 4 of the Color Soft. I never really got into this line. I think I had bought, they had like a portrait set a while back that I had bought. And these were the colors that remain from it that are the most Lightfast out of it. And I didn't bother getting into it more because once I started buying the Lightfast ones, I really didn't feel the need. Like, these are soft enough for me. They may not be as soft as the Color Soft, but they get the job done, and I don't have to worry about fading. So that's my kind of odds and ends as far as Derwent goes, and the rest of the Derwent Lightfast. And then keeping on the Derwent trend, this is probably my most used Derwent product other than the Derwent Inktense, which we'll get to that later. But this is the Derwent drawing pencil. Now, I have a video about these, but honestly, I use some of these in almost every colored pencil piece I do, especially the white. Before I ever tried the Holbein Soft White, this was my go-to white pencil, and it still pretty much is. It depends on the piece, because there's some areas where this one will work better than the Holbein Soft White, and then there's others when there's like a certain amount of texture built up where the Holbein White will work. So it like really depends on what I'm working on. But this is my all-time favorite pencil probably, is this Derwent Chinese White. I love it. These are soft, and they have more of a clay-like feel to them, as opposed to the regular, like, waxy or oily feel to them. A little bit more crumbly, but they're still really strong, and I love them so much. So, again, you know I love the Chinese White. Their black is a stand-up black color. It's, like, so dark and beautiful, and it gets really even coverage. And these tend to be a little bit more matte as well, whereas some of the other colored pencils might get a little bit of the waxy sheen to them. These tend to be like fairly matte when you lay them down, even when you layer them. One of my other favorite colors from this line is the ink blue. And these are all tend to be like really earthy tones. You can see here, I have a lot of doubles here. This is why I'm not going through every color. I have a lot of doubles because I use this line so much. They only actually have 24 colors in this line, whereas the Derwent Lightfast has 100. I don't know what the Color Soft has because I don't know. I haven't even gotten into that line really. But like, they all have varying amounts, but this one is one of their smaller lines in general because they're mostly earth tones. So you're going to get a lot of fun browns and tans and earthy yellows and kind of gray greens and things like that. Very beautiful for doing subdued artwork, or, you know, just creating some sort of soft feel to your artwork or an earthy feeling to your artwork. Again, I do have a video specifically about these. And I also have a video specifically about the Derwent Lightfast. So I will link those below, and I have a colored pencil playlist as well, and so feel free to check that out because you'll see a lot of these in that playlist. All right, so that is my first set of drawers. We're going to move on to the second set of drawers. This one is the Luminance by Caran d'Ache. Now, this is the first 100% light fast colored pencil line that was out on the market. And these are soft and beautiful and have such great pigment to them. And again, you can get any color in this line and you're not going to worry about whether or not it's going to fade on somebody's wall. I don't have as many of these. I think I started off with like the 24 set or 36 set or something like that. Then I've added a few here and there open stock. And when I first started out with colored pencil in 2014, I had started off with like Prismacolor and Polys. This was my first expensive line that I invested in. When I first started, I was kind of scared to use them. And then I never really got into the habit of using them. And so I have been starting to use them more and more in recent years. But yeah, they were very precious to me at the time. But now that I've gotten to a point where I can invest in more expensive brands, I feel more comfortable using them. Very, very soft. I also have here their set. I think that this was like their kind of add-on set. They call it their portrait assortment. I have not used them yet because I planned on doing some sort of review on them, or maybe just like, you know, I wanted to like have a video centering around them. So I haven't used this set yet, but once I do, I will be integrating them into my drawer set. I probably will not be drawing a portrait with them. But anyways, this is just, I bought them mainly to add on to here, but they are beautiful. So I might be doing a video at some point highlighting these soon. Now again, these are all like Light Fast 1 and 2, so they should be good for a very, very long time as far as light fastness goes. And they're perfect for when you want to sell your work. But because they do tend to be a little bit on the softer side, you may not get as much detail as you would like. I find that with the Derwent Light Fast pencils, I'm able to have like kind of the best of both worlds. They're soft enough to blend, but they're still, you know, hard enough that I'm able to get some finer detail. With these, I feel like it's a little bit more difficult to get fine detail. It can still be done, though. They're a pencil, so you can still get it done. They don't break very easily either. They're a high-quality pencil. This is one of the lines where I actually do kind of have a least favorite color. Honestly, I can't even tell what color this is anymore. That's another issue that I do have with this pencil is their writing is hard to read to begin with. The imprint on it is silver. It rubs off over time, like the writing is wearing off. And so that's one of the things I don't like about it. Like I think the packaging and like the presentation is beautiful, but in practice, they're hard to read and the stuff rubs off. Now, this one, I think I did have some breakage issues with, but I don't think that that's necessarily a Caran d'Ache problem. I think it might have just been something that happened in shipping. But my least favorite thing about this color, which is Castle Earth, I think, is it's kind of scratchy. I've noticed that with the browns, like I can feel a noticeable like grit to them. The rest of the pencils go on nice and smooth, but I have had some issues with this being scratchy and gritty and things like that. But that's the only issue I've ever noticed in this line, other than, like I said, the way the writing is hard to read to begin with and then starts to rub off. But their black pencil is beautiful, and they have a really strong white pencil as well if you're looking for opacity. It's nice and soft. It's a beautiful pencil. It gets the job done. I find that's a place where a lot of artists find colored pencils lacking, is if the black doesn't get dark enough and the white doesn't get white enough, that can kind of kill the mood a little bit. So definitely very solid as far as that goes. And the rest of the colors are beautiful. You can see that I used this a lot. I think I used this color a lot when I did one of my recent candy colored pencil pieces. But yeah, definitely recommend another one of those. If you are looking to invest in it, you might want to get a few open stock because they do tend to be pricey. Maybe not as pricey as the others I've shown so far, but it may be worth trying a few pencils first before investing in a whole set. Okay, now we're starting to get into the classics. This is the line of the Faber-Castell Polychromos, and these are beautiful. If you've been working in colored pencil, then you've probably heard of these. These are like more of an oil-based. Now, all pencils are oil and wax-based pencils, but a lot of times when something is coined as an oil-based pencil, tends to be a little bit harder and you're going to get finer detail, whereas something that's more of a wax-based pencil like a Luminance or a Prismacolor, you're going to get more waxy. So, but they're all made from the same thing. It's just a matter of how much of each component is in the pencil. So these are going to be your fine detail pencils. They keep a fine point. They sharpen really, really well, and you can get those details. That being said, they're not going to blend as quickly or easily as a Prismacolor. They don't burnish out as fast, which could be a plus or a minus. Definitely a layer pencil. I mean, you should be layering your colored pencils anyways, but you're going to need a few more layers to get the saturation that you want, at least in my experience. Now, that being said, I love these pencils. I usually mix these with my other pencils so that I can get the fine detail that I'm looking for. And you can tell I actually have a lot of these. This was like the second line that I invested in, the first being the Prismacolor, when I first started getting serious about colored pencil. So I have a ton of these. I think I had the full set of 120. And as far as the ratio goes, they have a lot of light, fast colors in their line as well. I have weeded out anything that is fugitive or anything like that. And as you can tell, I still have a lot of colors to work with. I actually have 3 drawers of these pencils. Now, let's talk about some of my favorite colors in the line. I am not overly thrilled with their white pencil. I mean, their white pencil to me is basically useless. So that's probably my least favorite. It might be my least favorite white that I've worked with in any of the like actual artist brands. It just does not have the opacity. It doesn't go over other colors very well. Now, again, because I'm a landscape girl, I'm really into the darker green, so I have the chrome oxide green here. You can tell I've used that up quite a bit. I think I probably have some doubles of it. I'm sure I've bought some backups over time. And a lot of these, like the cadmium yellow lemon, I love this. It's like a nice bright yellow green, perfect for foliage. I've used a lot of this May green. This is like one of my top favorites. You've got that in between. Nice earthy green. I use these a lot for foliage. You can see there that I use a lot of the greens. And I enjoy the fact that they do have some purples and pinks that are light fast. Again, they're going to be a little bit more on the dusky side, not perfectly bright pink. But they do have this fuchsia that is really beautiful. It's a 2, so it's like a 50 years or more, I believe. I've gotten rid of all the fugitive colors, and I think this one I've kept everything that's like 50 years and above, if I remember right. And again, they have the light fast information right on the side, just like the previous pencils that I have shown you. So if you ever see them in a store and you want to buy them open stock, you'll have the information you need if you care about the light fastness. This one is not as pricey as the others I have shown either. So you're getting into like the reasonable zone as far as pricing goes and quality. Very high quality. I mean, they might still be a little bit pricier if you're used to using something like, I don't know, like Castle Art or something like that. Like if you're used to using budget brands, it is going to feel a little bit pricey at first, but it's going to be worth every penny. And they are available open stock at Blick. I recommend most of these pencils, I would recommend just going to Blick to get them, or Jerry's Artorama online. They're easily accessible at those places, and most of them are open stock, at least the ones that I have mentioned so far. And then their black pencil, again, not bad. This one's not too bad, but I'm not as overly impressed with it as I am with some of the others. But I have used it up quite a bit because you can get the detail with it. And so I do keep extra black pencils on hand because I'm using this so I can get the higher detail. But it's much better than their white pencil. But yeah, so very solid line, beautiful pencils. I have been using these for years now, probably maybe, I don't know if it's been the full 10 years, but pretty close because it was the second line that I ever invested in. We are getting to the OGs. This is the first artist grade line I ever invested in, and that is the Prismacolor. I have here the Prismacolor Premier, and I also have their Very Thin. Now, Prismacolor is probably the softest pencil on the market as far as something that is artist grade goes. It is beautiful. I love these pencils. This is what made me fall in love with colored pencil. Using these made me fall in love with colored pencil. I come from a painting background, and they're luscious, they're soft, they're blendable. You can tell I have 8,000 of them. But that being said, they're also pretty problematic. Now, when I started with colored pencil, Prismacolor was like the most easily accessible pencil as far as artist grade pencils go. It was the biggest line probably in the US. There was a time where it had its heyday. But they've sold to different companies over the years, and I'm pretty sure Rubbermaid owns them now, and now they're made in Mexico. And the quality control has tanked. That's the saddest part about the whole thing for me, is as beautiful as they are and as nice feeling as they are to work with, they can be very frustrating to work with because they break a lot. They break very easily. They are a soft cord colored pencil. Dropping it on the floor may reduce the lifespan of that pencil. Getting jostled in shipping may reduce the lifespan in colored pencil. And, you know, they just don't protect them well enough. They don't make sure that their core is centered enough and the wood isn't strong enough to protect the core anymore. It's really a shame. Now, with that rant out of the way, I still use them. As I've gotten older, it is harder for me to work with the harder colored pencils. It wears on my hand a lot more. So I have found myself going back to my old favorite a lot lately and using the Prismacolors. Again, I have weeded out the ones that are not light fast. You can see here, I have a lot of duplicates. Because when I first started, I started with like a 12 set. And then I got like the 24 set. Because I was still very new to colored pencil, and these felt so expensive to me at the time. And so I have a lot of duplicates from back then, but then also I have a lot that I've bought like on sale as backups for the colors that I use the most. So as you can see here, I use this chartreuse, I don't know how to say that word. It is what it is. This beautiful like lime green. I use this a lot for foliage. I've used a lot of the cream over the years, and some of the reds I've used quite a few of. Again, I have weeded out all the ones that are fugitive. I think I have the ones that are like rated 50 years and above for these as well. Now, there's still a lot of room to play because Prismacolor has 150 colors. About 40 of them are probably fugitive. That leaves you with about 110 that kind of go in between. But when I first started out, these were the only colored pencils I had, and I was still able to get the job done. And so a lot of nice browns and things like that. Now, one of my favorite things about this line is their range of gray pencils. They have a full range of warms and cools in their gray. And it's just so versatile. And I'm somebody I'm a weirdo. I like to do black and white drawings with my colored pencils because I love the feel of the colored pencils and the look of the colored pencil. So I like to do a lot of monochromatic artwork with them. As you can see, I've used up a lot. And so I love their grays. That's probably one of my favorite things about them. They have a stand-up white, and their black is one of my favorite black pencils. You can see here, I have just a full thing of black. Again, here's one of the casualties, though. Although, I feel like that's one of the older ones. So even the older ones would break a little bit, but not as bad as they do now. Now, speaking of older ones, I have something that I consider to be a collector's item. And that is this set of Prismacolors from 1987, the year I was born. And I love this set. I think it is so cool. I wish they would make sets like this. I mean, I wish they'd still make the pencils the way they do. Now, I gotta say, these are the old barrel Prismacolor. This is like the creme de la creme of Prismacolor. And honestly, one of the things, and I meant to say this when I was showing you the Holbein colored pencils, one of the things that I love about the Holbein colored pencils is that they feel very similar to the old barrel Prismacolor, where you get that softness and that blendability, but they were much more sturdy and just enjoyable to work with. And so I do have a video featuring this set. The markers, when I first bought this, the markers were still working and everything else, I don't know if they still are. They have some of their art sticks and I don't know, like a kneadable eraser is so cool. I just love this set so much, and I love that it's from the year I was born. So that's kind of like more of a collector's edition thing. I don't use them in my artwork now because I want to preserve this. And yeah, it just makes me happy to have. And it's just in great condition. And then it also came with this really cool, like, step-by-step guide. So there's that. And then we were just talking about the black and gray pencils. I got these from a friend of my father. They had an artist in their family who had passed away, and they had a bunch of supplies in their studio still, and so they had given these to me, and these are kind of a prized possession as well. So I won't need to buy any gray colored pencils for a very long time, but there's various black, gray, and I don't know if there's any white pencils. I don't think there's any white pencils in here, but you got the light grays and a lot of the black pencils, and these are also the barrel Prismacolor colored pencils. And so these are definitely high quality, beautiful, beautiful pencils, and just a joy to work with. Back when Prismacolor made such a quality product, I wish they would just go back to that and put more effort into it. But anyway, so there's those. All right. So for this drawer, I actually have two different lines combined, and that is the Koh-i-Noor Polycolor and the Blick Studio pencils. And that's because to me, they feel like the same pencil. I'm pretty sure they're made in the same plant. They're both made in the Czech Republic, and they have a lot of colors that match up almost exactly. So I just kind of put them in the same drawer together. And then I also have a few kind of standalone sets by Koh-i-Noor as well. I have this 12 set of their watercolor pencils, and this is like their gray line. You have some warm grays and some cool grays. I have a video on this. I will link that in the description below, but it's basically just, you know, just a fun set highlighting their gray colors. I really enjoyed working with them. You can tell I used a lot of that dark, dark gray. Now, I still like the Prismacolor gray better. They are my favorite gray pencils. But these were a lot of fun, and these are water soluble, which just kind of adds a little bit more artistic dimension to them. And then these ones are just kind of for fun. These are their Tritone colored pencils. I just have the 12 set here, and as you can see, each one has 3 colors mixed in together. Makes for a really interesting core and some really interesting texture in your drawings. I will link the video for that in the description below as well. And then I have this collector set of pencils that my husband bought me. And it talks about the history. I think this was an anniversary set. But it talks about their history, and it says that they have 24-piece set, a 48-piece set, and a 72-piece set. So they have like 72 colors in their line, I believe. I think the Blick, very similar. Like if you get a set of the Koh-i-Noor and you can't find them open stock somewhere, a lot of them could probably be replaced with like a Blick alternative or something. At least that's how I feel. Blick is one of the lines, actually both of these are lines that I invested in when I first started with colored pencil. I had tried my Prismacolors and my Polys, and I had become hooked at that point, and I just wanted to try whatever I could get my hands on. And I had heard online that Blick's colored pencils were in response to Prismacolor. They were supposed to be similar to Prismacolor, and they were, you know, at the time, a very budget-friendly alternative. Now, I think that Blick is still a pretty budget-friendly pencil. I haven't bought any in a while, and I I don't remember, honestly, the pricing structure of the Koh-i-Noor because I think I've gotten like mostly sets from them. Now, both brands do have light fast ratings, and I think that they've both been tested by Colored Pencil Society of America, but don't quote me on it because I don't remember if the Koh-i-Noor was, but I'm almost 100% sure that they were. And yeah, all of the pencils that I am talking about today are compatible with the other colored pencils. I think these tend to be a little bit more, I mean, they are waxy, but they're also very strong, and I don't know if they are supposed to be oil or wax based. But now let's talk a little bit about the Blick. Actually, both of them. I was not very impressed with the black. I have used up a lot of the Blick, but that was mainly because I had to layer a lot of dark colors with it and layer to get a good dark black. I will show you a piece that I did a long time ago using just the Blick, back when I did a review on my blog before I had a YouTube channel. They're beautiful, they get the job done, but I wasn't overly impressed with their black or their white. And so, comparing them with Prismacolor, they are a little bit sturdier. They don't break as easily, but they're definitely not as vibrant as the Prismacolor. But I was still pretty happy working with them. They don't hurt my hand as much as some of the other lines out there. Like, I feel like they are softer than the Polychromos, and so they're not as hard on my hands. But I definitely used these a lot when I was first starting out with colored pencil. Pretty solid lines. Not bad. And definitely not bad for their price. And I should mention, I also have some, like, kids colored pencils. I have some of the Crayola and Prang. I'm not going to show that in this video. I'm just going along with mostly, like, artist to student grade. Okay. Now, these ones are ones that I just recently invested in, and I'm not going to invest in a lot of them. But I have a specific purpose for these, and these are the Caran d'Ache Pablo. A long time ago, I did a comparison of light fastness on all these different popular lines of colored pencils, and I was not impressed with their light fastness, especially since it was Caran d'Ache. Like, I think a lot of people assume that because Caran d'Ache makes the luminance, that their Pablos are also very light fast. No. They're not very great. I mean, I think they're right up there with Prismacolor as far as the amount that aren't light fast, maybe even worse, but they're much more expensive. And that was my biggest problem with it, is that these are still a fairly pricey pencil. And so to me, they should make a lot more light fast colors. We know that that company is capable of putting out light fast colors. So to me, there's no reason why there shouldn't be more light fast colors than there are. So I've never invested in the full line. I've invested in the highest light fast colors that I was interested in. I don't know if I have all their most light fast colors, but I picked the colors that I was most interested in. And that's because these work fantastically on sanded paper. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I love to work with oil pastel on sanded paper. And I like to use colored pencil for detail when I'm doing that. And so I want a pencil that's going to work great on sanded paper. And these do. They're just beautiful on sanded paper. They grip really well. I was really excited to see that they do have a couple of light fast pinks. That made me really excited. And they are a beautiful pencil. They're a little bit harder. So if you think about, like, if you are somebody like me who started out with Prismacolor and the Polychromos, so you have your soft pencil and your hard pencil, you can kind of think of the Caran d'Ache Luminance as the soft pencil and then this one as the hard pencil. So these are great to work with your luminance to get fine detail. Again, though, you're not going to have the amount of colors available if you're working with strictly light fast colors as you would just working with the luminance alone. Like, obviously, these don't have as many light fast colors, but they are great for fine detail. And so I recently bought a bunch open stock. Again, it's not the most expensive out there, but it's definitely more expensive than your Polychromos and your Prismacolor and things like that. So far, like I said, I'm really excited about these pink colors being light fast, and I really love these for sanded paper and working with them for my oil pastel drawings, which is what I'm mainly going to use these for. I told you this was going to be a long video. This is why I am not talking about every single color, because this is apeshit. This is the Soho line of colored pencils. So I just showed you my Blick line. This is Jerry's Artorama's like line of colored pencils. These tend to be a little bit on the harder side. I got these for free on promotion one time because I did a huge haul. And again, I think this was before I was really on YouTube very much. I had done a huge birthday art haul where I had a bunch of gift cards and I had ordered a bunch of stuff, and they had a lot of promotions going on at that time. And because I had spent a certain amount of money, I got their 72 set of these for free. I thought that that was pretty cool. Now, I don't know if they have actual Lightfast ratings on them. They don't seem to have that information on the barrel themselves. These, I think, are definitely on the harder side. They feel a little bit, definitely a little bit more on the budget side as far as all the lines I've shown you so far. I use these for coloring books. Long story short, I don't typically use these in work that I'm going to sell, but I think that they're fun to play around with in coloring books. And so this is kind of the line that I have kept around. I have donated a lot of pencils over the years. I've had the Arteza colored pencils. I've had other lines of colored pencil. I couldn't even tell you. Maybe some of the, whatever the Michaels brand is. I don't know. I've had a bunch of different lines of colored pencil, and I've donated them over the years. But these ones I've kind of just kept around for things like sketchbook play and working in my coloring books. Things that I don't plan to sell. I keep my more expensive, more Lightfast things for things that I plan to sell, and then these for coloring books. Now, they do have a pretty good line of grays, which I think is impressive. Their black isn't too bad. I'm not overly stoked about their white pencil. I do love these pink colors. I think they're just kind of fun. But yeah, so there's that one. Another company of colored pencils that I invested in when I first started out was some of the Brunswick. And again, I don't think these ones are as easily accessible, but I was so excited about this because I really just loved the really cool packaging. It came with its own like set of drawers, and I just think that it's beautiful. Obviously, you can tell I've had this one for years because it's really nasty and dirty. And I don't know that I have any videos featuring these specifically, but I just love this drawer set. It's more of like a collectible thing for me. I know that I did some artwork with them originally. You can see which colors I used up a lot of. Now, these do wear down pretty fast. And then I think these two are the only two that aren't Lightfast. That's why I have them flipped upside down. Of course, they're pinks. That's not surprising at all. But yeah, I think a couple of the colors got used up really quickly. And the only one that I had a real issue with was the black color. And I just recently replaced this with an open stock color because it broke. And then it broke, and then it broke, and then it broke. And I don't know, I didn't have that problem with the rest of them. I don't know if that's something that happens a lot with this brand or not. But I'd go to sharpen it, and it would break. And it was really, really disheartening. Because especially since this is kind of more like, I don't know, the way it's set up feels like a collector thing. And so, I don't know. But I did replace this open stock. So they do have some of their colors open stock. And yeah, but out of this whole set, it's a 24 set, only 2 of them were like considered fugitive. And they were fun to work with if I remember right. It's been years, honestly. Like I had this kind of set aside like in my collector's edition things. And so I'll have to maybe do a video with these at some point. If that's something that you're interested in seeing, please let me know below. If you want to see any of these lines in more detail, and I don't already have a video about them on my channel, please let me know, because obviously I need to get into using all my supplies a lot more. But there's that set. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I think the packaging is unique. I think they have other pencils that are in tins and stuff as well, but this is like a throwback from when I first started. Now we're going to move on to the water-soluble pencils. Okay, so my all-time favorite water-soluble pencil of all time is the Derwent Inktense line. These are beautiful. Many of you are probably here because you've seen one of my Inktense videos. This is one of my go-to mediums that I work with on this channel. and it's a very popular one. They're just gorgeous. They are a water-soluble pencil, and they have this beautiful ink-like consistency, which makes them more permanent than others. And again, this comes up all the time. Everybody's like, but I thought they were ink. According to the frequently asked questions on the Derwent website, these are classified as a watercolor product, but have an ink-like consistency. So they're made to look like ink, but they don't, on the website, they don't actually state that these are made from ink. They say that they're a watercolor product. So don't come at me in the comments because I'm tired of it. Like, I'm going on the information from the website. But anyways, I've stated before, I really don't care what they're made from. I just love using them. They're beautiful. They're vibrant. You can tell here that I actually have had the full set. I bought the full set for myself years ago. I've been working with these probably not long after I started with colored pencil, and I had bought like the Prismacolors and Polychromos and things like that. I had heard about these. So maybe 2015, 2016, something like that, I started working with these. And so I've accumulated a lot of these over the years. I think I have at least 2 full sets because I had bought a couple of the smaller sets for myself, and then I bought some open stock, and then I bought the full set, and then Derwent also sent me a full set. So I have a lot of them, which is fine because I use them a lot. And it does start to go on into a second one. I have weeded out the ones that are considered to be fugitive. Now, Derwent has gone on to say that they have not tested these once they've been washed out. So I still am like a little bit cautious when it comes to these. I will sell prints of the stuff that I work with, but because I put so much work into my Inktense, I try to be as cautious as possible. So I still weeded out, even though I only sell prints of the work, I still weeded out the ones that were considered fugitive and not rated for 50 years or below. Like, I'm still doing 50 years and above and hoping that it doesn't fade because I put hours into my Inktense work. And so, yeah, they started off with 72 colors and recently expanded the line so that they have 100 colors. And you get the best of both worlds here because you get the watercolor-like effects, but then you can do the detail with the pencil. Now, I also have the blocks. I think that I'll include that in my kind of like pastel video because ain't nobody got time for that today. Yeah. If you want to learn more about these, I have plenty of videos on the channel about them. I just did one recently, and yeah. Now, along those lines with Derwent, I also have the Derwent watercolor pencils. These aren't too bad. Oh, I also have some Koh-i-Noor watercolor pencils that I had mixed in. They're all right. I don't feel like they wash out as well as the Derwent Inktense. They're not nearly as permanent or as vibrant. And so I don't find myself reaching for these as much as the Inktense. I'm just in love with the Inktense. I can't help myself. And so these ones kind of pale in comparison, but they are a pretty solid watercolor pencil. There are times, like I said, that when you go to wash them out, you can kind of still see the pencil strokes. They don't wash out as fluidly as the Inktense, at least in my experience. I think I do have a really old video about these on my channel. If you want to watch that, I can link that as well. And then I also have their metallic watercolor pencils. And these are just fun. These are more of a novelty thing. I used these in my video where I did a metallic art piece. I did a video where I only used metallic art supplies, and that one was a lot of fun too, so I will link that as well. These are fairly transparent though, so I feel like these work best over something else if you really want the color to come through. A lot of fun. Now, I don't know, I couldn't tell you what my favorite colors are out of any of these. Like, the Inktense, I just love them. I use them all pretty much. And then these ones, I haven't used them enough because I'm so like blinded by my love for Inktense that, again, I haven't used these enough to really talk about my favorite colors with them. But yeah, so there's that. Okay, so my last water-soluble pencil. Again, I used to have a lot more. I had other companies before, but I've donated a lot of them. But I have the Albrecht Dürer by Faber-Castell. Now, something that's fun about Faber-Castell is that if you have any of their lines, they have colors in their other lines to match. And so I'm pretty sure that these line up with the polychromos as far as colors go. And again, they have the light fast ratings right on the sides of them. And I think these have also been tested by the Colored Pencil Society of America. So I've gone through and I've gotten rid of the ones that were not acceptably light fast in my book. I don't know if they have tested these wet or not. I had gotten these a while back. Actually, I think my husband had gotten me a smaller set and then he invested in the larger set for me. And I planned on doing a video with them. And then I think I ended up, what was it? I think it was when I was going to be redoing my studio and stuff. So it kind of went by the wayside. So I have not done a video with these. So if that's something that you'd like to see, let me know. Again, every time I want to work with water soluble, my go-to is Inktense. So I don't necessarily think about it. So if you'd like to see me kind of use these and talk about the qualities of them, let me know, because that was the plan originally. And as you can see, I have other colors. They're just beautiful. They have like the octagonal pencil shape and the typical Faber-Castell branding, color information, all that. They're beautiful pencils, and yeah, I need to use these soon. I need to use these on the channel. So that's what I have for my water-soluble pencils. And that's basically that when it comes to my colored pencils. This was a long video. This is like ridiculously long. Okay, so I think I'll end this video off here, kind of showing my decorative colored pencils. These are ones that I just thought were really pretty. These are Studio Series pencils that my grandmother got me, so I put those in my colored pencil little cups here for decorating the studio. Because again, these are kind of like student grade, so I'm not going to use them in work that I sell, but I thought that they were aesthetically pleasing. And then I have these like real wood pencils that my sister bought me a few years ago. Again, just kind of a collector's item. And my little mini colored pencils. I actually did do a video on these years ago with a really, really janky illustration. I don't know. It's not my best work, but I colored it with these. So, you know, that was fun. And then my best friend got me these ones from the Cayman Islands when she was on a cruise for her honeymoon. And then my friends Nick and Lynn got me these when they were in Hawaii. So I do have evidence of my love for colored pencils out in the studio at all times. All right, folks, that's it. That's my monstrous colored pencil collection. If you've stuck around this long, well, you deserve a cookie because that was a long video. But let us know in the comments what your favorite colored pencils are and why you love them so much. I will see you next week. You have a fantastic day. Bye.